Me, Lord, walk with me. Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. While I'm on this Jesus journey, I want Jesus.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank everybody.
Indeed an honor to be here. I talk to my grandmother every Sunday. And I just want to talk to her and say, hey, what's going on? How's the weather in Jacksonville? I'm not there, but I know you're there, just to be able to hear her voice. So, you know, God has granted us 100 years with this lady here. We love this lady. And I know a lot of people can't say that. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to boast in it because God has showed us some favor. And I'm all right with it. I know it's not fair, but I'm all right with it. So I do appreciate it, and I thank God for that. So I stand here to welcome you all to my grandmother's 100th celebration.
Great Grandma Carrie, you are 100. So let me put that in perspective for everyone else today and take you down her memory lane. In 1918, when Carrie Ashe was born, Woodrow Wilson was the 28th President of the United States. U.S. Congress had just established time zones and approved daylight savings time. The United States Post Office Department became the first regular airmail service in the world. World War I had ended, and the first affordable car was popular, the Model T4. In the 1920s, when Carrie was 2 to 12 years old, the Harlem Renaissance took place. The first electronic TV was invented. The first Miss America pageant occurred. Time magazine and the National Football League was created. The first Ponzi scheme took place. Jazz was developed. Mass media and Mickey Mouse were born. And sliced bread was invented. There were 100 million Americans, and this decade of the 20s gave us the pop-up toaster, the hair dryer, the can opener, the traffic signal, and the car radio. In the 1930s, when Carrie was 12 to 22 years old, the Empire State Building was built, the Star-Spangled Banner was named the U.S. National Anthem, air conditioning was invented, Adolf Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany, the cheeseburger was invented, Social Security was created, and World War II had begun. Carrie gave birth to her first child and son, Lee Walter Ashe, in 1938. This decade of the 30s gave us Superman, the helicopter, the electric razor, the electric guitar, suntan lotion, the ballpoint pen, the diamond ring, and photocopying. In the 1940s, when Carrie was 22 to 32 years old, the first all-black military aviation program was created, known as the Tuskegee Institute. The start of the Holocaust, Jackie Robinson became the first African-American player to play in the Major League Baseball with the Brooklyn Dodgers. During these years, Carrie gave birth to her first daughter, Shirley Mae Ashe, in 1941, son Samuel Ashe in 1944, and daughter Juanita Ashe in 1945. This decade of the 40s gave us the Slinky, disposable diapers, the microwave oven, the bikini, Tupperware, and Frisbees. In the 1950s, when Carrie was 32 to 42 years old, Brown versus the Board of Education initiated the integration of schools. The tragic death of Emmett Till took place in Mississippi, and Rosa Parks and the Montgomery bus boycott occurred. Carrie gave birth to her daughter, Willardine Ashe, in 1953. This decade of the 50s gave us alkaline batteries, the breathalyzer, the pacemaker, the videotape recorder, and car seat belts. In the 1960s, when Carrie was 42 to 52 years old, the first Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs took place in Los Angeles. The first man on the moon, the rise of Black Power, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, and JFK, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King Jr. were all assassinated. Her first grandchildren were born, Yolanda Ashe in 1964 and Stephanie Ashe in 1966. This decade of the 60s gave us the stereo, the smoke detector, cassette tape, Post-it notes, Walmart, zip codes, Star Trek, Sprite, and the Flintstones. In the 1970s, when Carrie was 52 to 62 years old, Shirley Chisholm ran for president, Disney World opened, the Watergate scandal took place, and the digital thermometer and pocket calculator were created. This decade of the 70s gave us the digital camera, floppy disk, Soul Train, Microsoft, Saturday Night Live, and Wheel of Fortune. In the 1980s, when Carrie was 62 to 72 years old, the royal wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana occurred, the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up, the Olympics were in Los Angeles, the Oprah Winfrey Show launched, CNN broadcasted worldwide, Michael Jackson released Thriller, the fall of the Berlin Wall, We Are the World was recorded, and the Cosby Show debuted. Her first grandchild, yours truly, was born in 1986. This decade of the 80s gave us the camcorder, the World Wide Web, compact disc, the first Martin Luther King Day, and the Rubik's Cube. In the 1990s, when Carrie was 72 to 82 years old, Rodney King and the LA riots occurred, Nelson Mandela was elected president of South Africa, Whitney Houston sung the Star Spangled Banner at the Super Bowl, the case of John Benet Ramsey, the Olympics were in Atlanta, and O.J. Simpson's trial swarmed the nation. Her great-grandson, Jarrell Baker, was born in 1991. Her great-granddaughter, Janae Baker, and granddaughter, Zia Bradley, were born in 1993, and her great-grandsons, Kadarius and Ladarius Gardner, were born in 1995. This decade of the 90s gave us the Nintendo Game Boy, PlayStation, the DVD player, and Google. In the 2000s, when Carrie was 82 to 92 years old, Y2K occurred, 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, the creation of social media, the election of the first black president of the United States, Barack Obama, and the death of Michael Jackson. This decade of the 2000s gave us the iPod, YouTube, Twitter, and the iPhone. In the 2010s, when Carrie was 92 to 100 years old, Occupy Wall Street protests occurred, a Malaysia flight disappeared, and fake news and alternative facts were created. And on December 5th, 2018, Carrie Ashe turned 100 years old. Over your lifespan, you have witnessed 17 U.S. presidents, 99 New Year's Eve ball drops, 52 Super Bowls, 22 leap years, 25 Olympic Games, 1,200 months, and 36,528 days and counting. From Woodrow Wilson to Russell Wilson, from sunscreen to touchscreen, from Jim Crow laws to Dominique dolls, you've literally seen it all. You are Black history, you are American history, you are world history, you are 100 years personified. You are the flower of our family, the seed for us all, and the rose that we adore. We blossom because of you and for you. And today we celebrate you. Thank you.